Welcome, viewers. So I've been focused on some pretty big projects that I've been working on that aren't YouTube related, so I kind of wanted to do a little fun video just to upload something, and I came up with this idea where I play as the Elves against the Goblins, and I see how far I can get in the skirmishes without losing any units. So the first round I'll call baby mode, because I'm going to be putting it on easy difficulty, but also I'm going to be holed up in Isengard. And for those who haven't played the game, the fortress levels basically give you a buff because you have automatic walls, you have more resources, and it just makes it way easier to defend. So to start, I build up a bunch of Malorn trees for my resources, and then I start upgrading a barracks so that I can get Mirkwood archers that I set on my walls that can easily defend against any enemy attacks. And I start building up a forge so that I can get Silverthorn arrows on my archers, which is largely unnecessary. And so now that I'm defended against any paltry enemy attacks that might come my way, I start building up heroes. So I start with my long-range heroes, Legolas and Thranduil, so that they can help my archers on the ground, and then I also get Elrond to help with the physical side, because these three are going to help take down the enemy fortress. As expected of baby mode, the fortress went down very easily, and I beat it in one attempt. So for easy mode, I'll still be on easy difficulty, but both of us will be on even ground in Ithilien. So the first thing I do is save up my resources for Haldir, who I send out to take down some wild cave trolls and to capture an outpost. But then the goblins finally start attacking by going after my Malorn trees. But the goblins don't give me too much trouble, and so I'm able to build up my hero squad and keep them at bay. Eventually I make a charge into the goblins' base, take a small respite to heal up, and then even get an eagle from my fortress to help take out the remaining buildings and win the mission. For the medium challenge, I started in Lorien, and I decided to upgrade a barracks to get Mirkwood archers, but I opted to get Haldir first to help get rid of the goblins that were attacking my barracks, and then to get rid of the wild goblins so I could build more Malorn trees. My basic idea was to get one Malorn tree in between my fortress and the enemy fortress, right beside the river, that I could then defend with my Mirkwood archers and eventually battle towers and heroes, in order to save up enough to get a full hero squad to take on the enemy fortress. I used my heroes to bait the larger enemy forces closer to my more well-defended Malorn tree where they could make a stand, so that I could save up enough to first get an eagle, and then to build another fortress right next to the river where the enemy base was. I lost one attempt when I let the Goblin King get too close and take out one of my archers, but with the help of my sun power, my eagle, and my heroes, I was able to take out the enemy fortress in 2 attempts. For my hard skirmish in Mirkwood, I started building my barracks as quickly as possible to get Mirkwood archers, even before getting Haldir. I have a close call when the enemy first attacks because their archers start meeting mine head on, but thankfully I had the heal power handy. And then I set up the same battlefield that I had in the previous mission by having a Malorn tree set in the middle of our fortresses that the enemies would be led to attack. Eventually I got my hero squad and my first eagle and started pushing forward into the enemy territory because they had spread right up to my doorstep. I built a second fortress to defend before entering a sort of stalemate until I remembered that Ents existed. So I finally built an Entmoot and started sending them to the front lines. I lose Ents a couple of times, but eventually I'm able to get ground with my powers and then use the Ents to take out the buildings while my heroes protect my Ents. This let me beat the hard skirmish in 4 attempts. And thankfully my trials are now over since there's not a higher level of difficulty. So anyway, I started the brutal difficulty in Minas Tirith because I'm too much of a chicken to do a normal level, but I still think that this is going to be very difficult. I start as usual by getting my Mirkwood archers, and then starting to get my heroes so they can fend off the enemy onslaught. Unfortunately, on brutal difficulty, the amount of enemies is ridiculous and never-ending, to the point where I even tried to do an Ent rush where I restarted the level and just tried to pump out Ents as quickly as I could. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to take out the enemy buildings and get through the enemy forces with the amount of Ents that I could get. So I got all the heroes that I could from the elves, built all the trebuchets I could on the walls, and then eventually, with enough ints, I stormed the enemy base and finally beat them after 8 attempts. This was just a fun one-off video that I may or may not make a series, but regardless, thank you viewers for watching it, and I'll see you next time.